We're here at Smalley School with Mr. Todd Hougas. I'm really pleased to be here to recognize his work and what he does for the community. Todd was nominated for one of the Superintendent's Challenge coins for what you see behind us. He takes it upon himself on his own time with his own resources to rebuild and renovate and make safe these bicycles so that they can be given away as an incentive for good attendance here at Smalley School. So thanks very much for being with us today, Todd. So tell me more about this project at Smalley and why you do what you do.
Well, I came over to Smalley a few years ago and started out as STEAM and then went to 5th grade, and now I've become the art teacher. And at the end of each year, the principal finds some funds to purchase some bikes, and students who have excellent attendance end up getting a bike. There was usually only 4 to 6 that were given away at the end of each year. From that point, I talked to a good friend of mine, Jameson Bazinet, who's my partner in the bike repair, etc. And he said, well, we could find a few more bikes. And then a fellow colleague, Marlene Calandra from Jefferson, she's a kindergarten teacher, she said, I have a couple bikes that I don't use anymore. Do you guys want to take them? And so he said he'd take a look at them, give them a once-over. It turned into something that we donated to kids, and that started the ball rolling. From that point, we started collecting more and more bikes from friends and also from the Buy Nothing site on Facebook, and it started gathering more momentum. And last year we ended up giving away about 8 bikes, but a few of them were given to my specific class. And then we just started to get it going even further. And over the summer he goes, since he's an avid bike enthusiast, he went to a bike swap and sold a bike that we received from the custodian here, Tim Westerman. It's a Pork BMX bike, and it happened to be very sought after. Then we received another bike from someone on Buy Nothing, and we ended up selling both of those for $320. And there was a person from New Haven at the bike swap who was trying to blow out a lot of BMX bus style bikes, which would fit our kids perfectly. And he liked what we were doing, and he ended up selling us 18 bikes for $365. So we ended up just spending about $45 for 18 bikes.
Phenomenal.
And from that point, it's gone even further. And so this year, as of this moment, I think we have 25 bikes that are either have been given away this year or are in the school hidden away. And there's another 8 to 10 in my garage in his basement. So.
But that many bikes already, and we're just at Thanksgiving. So that's a very quick rate of really giving some nice incentives to kids and supporting the kids who need a bicycle. Yeah.
And it really is important it's being used as an attendance incentive. And so I think that's the best use of these bikes.
And we just had today's winner here, and you couldn't wipe the smile off of his face.
And he happened to be in school every single day and not tardy for up until this point. So
great.
It's working.
Great. Before we got started, you were telling us a little bit about kind of your career before teaching, and you just mentioned a little bit of your journey here. So briefly tell us where your career started before you became before you became a teacher, and those different kind of phases of being a teacher that you mentioned earlier.
Well, I started out doing a lot of jobs, mostly in restaurants, and then ended up back in school in my mid-20s and studied art at the University of California in Santa Cruz, where the banana slugs are the mascot. And my photography emphasis ended up helping me get a job at the Associated Press in New York City, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to shoot. So a friend of mine introduced me to the editor here at the Herald in New Britain, and told the editor that he should hire me, so he did. And so I was a photojournalist both here in New Britain from 96 to 2000, and then at various papers throughout New England.
Great.
And from there, I saw what was happening with newspapers. Newspapers were going digital. Photographers were being laid off. It seemed to be a questionable job at the moment. So another colleague of mine, Dave Zajac at the time, I hired him brand new into the Herald, and he kept on pushing me to become a teacher. And I have several family members who are also teachers, and it just seemed to be a good fit. So went back to school, did a full internship in Roxbury and Bridgewater, Connecticut, and they paid for my master's degree. And then when I was searching for a job, New Britain showed up, and it just seemed to be a natural fit. Because my father is also a New Britain native. He grew up a couple of blocks away on Putnam Street.
Awesome.
He also went to Smalley School in the 1930s, and he was a safety patrol.
Awesome.
So everything sort of came full circle, and I ended up in New Britain. So from there, I was a fourth grade teacher, fifth grade teacher at Smith. I was a sixth grade teacher for 1 year at Slade. And then I was also STEAM, and I eventually moved over here to Smalley. I was STEAM, fifth grade, and now art.
Wonderful. So the story of your dad is a great segue to the next question, and it's, for you, what drives you, or what's the best thing about working here in New Britain and here at Smalley?
I was thinking about that, and really the best thing is the kids and the other teachers. My colleagues have always been there, and they're the most amazing group of people who work here in New Britain. They go above and beyond constantly to address all needs of our kids, and I'm proud to be one of them.
Wonderful, wonderful. What's been, or who has been the biggest influence on you as an educator?
That's hard to say. I don't know if there's any one particular person. Besides Dave Zajac, who pushed me, all my friends and family have always supported me throughout all of this. And then it really is, again, my colleagues and the students here. I mean, the students in New Britain, I've been around New Britain for a long time. As the photojournalist, I went to pretty much every single neighborhood in New Britain. I've seen every corner of it. And I've always just been drawn to New Britain. So it's a collective.
That's great. That's great. And to wrap up, what is a lesson you have learned from your students? I'm sure you've taught your students plenty of lessons, but what's a lesson you feel like you've learned from your students over your years?
I think, I don't think there's any particular one lesson that I've learned. However, in general, they've taught me how to look at a whole person and not just one part of an individual. In addition, they've taught me how to be much more patient than I was. And they've also taught me how to look at myself, both professionally, personally, creatively. And so they've taught me a lot.
Excellent, excellent. It's been wonderful to talk to you.
My pleasure.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
what
so
you
much.
do. We appreciate it.
I appreciate the honor.